Thanks very much. I was asked also to address the question of essential knowledge for tomorrow's pharma industry. Now, the conference organizers framed the issue with a subtitle. Is it big data analytics or an open mind? Now, framed that way, we can see where the organizers might have been headed. It is hard to find the constituency for closed minds. But there are indeed a slew of conferences just this year about big data in pharma. 2 in London, 2 next month in Philadelphia, 1 in Boston, 1 last month in Brussels. Big data seems to be the type of issue that will get people to invest some time and money in a conference. As an issue, it's complex, it's threatening, it might change the way we do our jobs. Companies aren't sure whether they want to get on board and make some money by adapting faster than their competitors, or ignore it, or try to stop it. For Canadians in the farm industry, it's a bit like a major change in the PAB code. The workshop can always guarantee a big attendance. And big data has already spawned an outsource industry. McKinsey, the consulting practice, has published reports used to leverage assignments across the industry. Ian, I suspect that IMS might have some resources of interest too. Some pharma companies are hiring data scientists. But there's skepticism too. If you Google the words big data, pharmaceutical, and hype, I come up with 83,000 pages that aren't sure about it. Plus, the movement to use big databases and new statistical techniques isn't unique to pharma. You've been traded for some big data, 2 spreadsheets and an algorithm. Yeah, there are parallels. At first, the stats in baseball were controversial. When Moneyball was first released, the debate was about one market imperfection that undervalued one type of baseball player, the player who frequently got a base on balls. The disruptors were the statisticians who developed the theory, together with the first few general managers who hired them and experimented with the analysis. Now, those players are no longer undervalued, but the statistics are still analyzed and used by most clubs. And beyond baseball, now even the Maple Leafs have hired an assistant GM with a mandate to use stats. Now, back to pharma, the previous speakers have addressed where big data could create value. In the pharma industry itself, using big data to give better information as to where to focus R&D efforts, in clinical trial design, directing personalized medicine searches. This has been suggested as an area where the success rate could be vastly improved. Collecting data on adverse events could be enhanced by scraping social media, although I also see that the FDA is interested in collecting and using the same data, so that could cut both ways. Big data could be used by industry and payers for performance-based drug pricing. It could be used for business strategy support. It has also been suggested to help micro-target online advertising to small groups of patients, although it's difficult to see how Canadians would lead the way here with our ban on DTC advertising plus some powerful privacy legislation. So there have been some massive estimates of the value that could be created in the pharma industry by big data. And as the price of data storage and processing continues to drop, more uses will be developed. But who will be using the statistics? Who will be making the decisions? What are their professional backgrounds? Now, this screen was obviously written for skeptics who would keep the computer geek in the back room and ignore the data 95% of the time. Today, we were asked to look for what is essential knowledge, and one definition could be what is the dominant skill of the people who will get to the industry executive suite, and those are rarely the data gurus. Now, if we wanted to look for what knowledge is essential, I would also look for the challenges and opportunities facing the pharma industry over the next 2 decades. Those challenges could help determine what type of a workforce to hire and develop. And here are some of the challenges and opportunities: the pressure from payers leading toward pay for performance, possibly eventually more emphasis on prevention than treatment, individualized medicine, a recognition that the area for most rapid growth in pharma will be in the developing world, that patients are becoming increasingly empowered, that doctors are increasingly driven by factors outside of the old sales model, leading to different ways of influencing their behavior. You'll identify others. So my question is, what kind of knowledge will we need to adapt to this type of a world? What kind of people will the industry be hiring in the next 20 years? Will they be bench scientists or genetic scientists, specialists in biotech? Will they be epidemiologists or, dare I say, pharmacoeconomists? Intellectual property lawyers. Everybody needs those. If payer pressure is continuing, shouldn't we have people in pharma companies who understand how public policy is made and how governments can be influenced? Or do we need to load up on business grads to help solve a range of issues such as pricing, raising capital and allocating it, determining business strategy on an optimized basis, leading marketing and sales, and being fully informed about how to prosper in foreign jurisdictions? Or do we need to hire database analysts? Now, I'm not sure what the conference organizers were hoping the conclusion might be, but my inclination is to conclude that we need all of the above. Pharma will be forced to respond to all of these issues. It can't afford to have silos of specialties defined in the past, creating gridlock for change. Pharma needs a wide range of capabilities in cross-functional teams. But as many as possible do need to be quantitatively fearless. For to support their decisions, to target their R&D, to understand their customers, they also need the analysis of data, big or small, whether it's developed by their own staff or from companies that can supply it to them. The executive suite of tomorrow has to be ready to interpret complex data reports and challenge the analytical staff to revise it, improve it, and simplify it. Now, if big data has a support role that's not exactly housed on the executive floor, does that make it essential knowledge? Well, that may be a question of perspective. Where you stand depends on where you sit. What I'm referring to here is the perspective of whether as individuals we are ready to get on board with data, or whether on the other hand we feel vulnerable that some of the future debates will take place using a new and complex language. Personally, I feel that, as in baseball, that data, big data, will indeed change the game. To me, that does make it knowledge that's essential. Thanks very much.